Proverbs 29:2. When the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. But when the wicked beareth rule, the people mourn. The whole world is in mourning. Kol halal Yahweh Bahasham Yahushai Bahasham Wakakodash. Double honors unto the apostles, double honors unto the elder bishops. Salutations to all my fellow laborers doing this work in truth and sincerity, risking their lives and their freedom to do so, now more so than ever. To the scattered elect that are scattered around the four corners of the earth, that be like unto the speckled bird, the Israelite foreigners among the heathen that look like the heathen, and to the few akwak that are listening and learning, to you I say shalom. This is your brother Malcolm from the branch of the Great Millstone here in Chicago, coming at you another lesson in truth. And couple videos is some things I wanted to get to that, some of my subscribers and some other brothers, some fellow laborers, the 144,000 that risked their lives to do this work. A lot of information came in today, so, Lord's will, maybe I'll get to some of those videos tomorrow or later on. But these three, been heavy on my spirit because I watched them. And as you can see the title, this is by Novera Media, and it reads, Western leaders finally criticize Israel. All right. And the third video that I'm going to show is going to tell you why, because they realize how much danger that they're in. It's not because they care about the lives of the, the Israelis would like to continue the Holocaust that they're waging against the Palestinians, and the Palestinians are going through a Holocaust with fire for sure. So without any further ado, let's play a little bit of Michael Walker's video here.
Leaders are belatedly modifying their tone, and I say Western leaders are belatedly modifying their tone, and I say modifying because they haven't radically transformed what they're saying to Israel, but they've changed their tone. Here's the Foreign Secretary, or here's UK Foreign Secretary David Cameron speaking about the threat of an imminent ground invasion in Rafa.
We are very concerned about what is happening in Rafa, because let's be clear, the people there, many of them have moved 4, 5, 6 times before getting there. And it really, we think, is impossible to see how you can fight a war amongst these people. There's nowhere for them to go. They can't go south into Egypt. They can't go north and back to their homes because many have been destroyed. So
I'd like to interject here. And from what I see, this isn't a war. This is a massacre. This is a Holocaust. All right. These people aren't even in a position where they can fight back and defend themselves. This is like putting a crippled man into a boxing match, into a kickboxing match. A paraplegic. Matter of fact, maybe even a guy who's missing limbs. All right. And putting him into a boxing match. All right. It's there. Yeah, this is truly a horrible atrocity, which is being allowed to be done. And when you speak against it, they cut my live video when I said a few things about it yesterday on TikTok. It's funny, you would think that they would do that on YouTube faster than TikTok, but there's a lot of people that watch, a lot of haters out there. They hate those who speak the truth. They hate him who rebuketh in the gate.
We are very concerned about the situation, and we want Israel to stop and think very seriously before it takes any further action. But above all, what we want is an immediate pause in the fighting. We want that pause to lead to a ceasefire, a sustainable ceasefire, without a return to further fighting. That's what should happen now. We need to get those hostages out, including the British nationals. We need to get the aid in. The best way to do that is stop the fighting now and turn that into a permanent, sustainable ceasefire.
2 problems with that. One, it's 3 months too late. Okay? This idea, it was fine to bomb every other city in Gaza until it was completely destroyed and would take a decade to rebuild, killing 30-odd thousand people. But now actually they've crossed some sort of arbitrary red line, which means that now suddenly we have a problem with it. The second big problem, right? They're just words. There are some very concrete things the United Kingdom could do to pressure Israel, right? We could cut off aid. We could apply sanctions. We do that to Russia. There's no reason why we can't apply sanctions to a rogue state that's killing thousands of civilians.
Damn.
Israelis have killed.
All right, and you know why? Because they're doing what Edomites do: colonize, covetous. All right, they want what you have. All right, even if they have enough, they still want what you have. You know, they have that Debo mentality. I want to spend Red's money. All right, this is Micah 2 and 1. I'm gonna read to verse 3, and it says, "Woe to them that devise iniquity and work evil upon their beds. When the morning is light, they practice it because it is in the power of their hand. Because I can bomb you, because I can burn you out, because I can use the media as a weapon and say whatever I want to say to justify me committing a Holocaust against you, I'm going to do that. And they covet fields." Well, you know, the greater Israel. They want to build the new canal, you know. And we've also, you know, there's been rumors about all the oil and things that's been found underneath Gaza. All right. Got to clean those people out, move them out. All right. And they covet fields and take them by violence, and houses they take them away. So they oppress a man and his house, even a man and his heritage. Now, granted, that's not their land. That land belongs to the Israelites. And you know, to argue that you know that the Israelis are not the people of the Lord at this point, to try to argue that they are, it's beyond foolish at this point. It's just it's an uphill battle in oil and mud. You know, at this point it's been proven there's more than a mountain of evidence to prove that these people are clearly not who they have claimed to be. All right, physically, biblically, spiritually, in every way. You know, even DNA is against them at this point. All right. So, you know, and then of course Palestinians are not the Philistines. They're not the Philistines were Hamites. You know, Palestinians are of Ishmael. For the actual Philistines were Hamites, what you call Africans. Remember that curse of Ham, or that curse of Canaan, you know, or the curse of Ham, whatever they called it, as an excuse for slavery. Well, guess what? The actual Philistines were Hamites. They were what you call Africans today. All right, they were not Ishmaelites. They were not Arabs. So that's not their home either. All right. But still, what you're doing to them, it doesn't make it right, you know. Verse 3, Micah 2 and 3. "Therefore, thus saith Yahweh, behold, against this family do I devise an evil, from which ye shall not remove your necks, neither shall ye go haughtily, for the time is evil." And now evil words are being spoken against them for the first time ever from, you know, in the mainstream, even though they control the mainstream. Because this is not good for business. This is not good for their allies and their partners. All right. And then the allies and their partners are the one who allowed this to happen anyway. Mainly America and Britain, America mainly. Okay. For this whole Holocaust that's being committed against these Ishmaelites, these Palestinians. All right.
Killed, we think, twice as many civilians in Gaza over the past 3 months as Russia has killed in Ukraine over the past 2 years.
Damn.
So the idea, we can't possibly put Israel in the same category as Russia, is ridiculous if you're looking at the damage of the wars they're fighting. I mean, also if you're looking at the extent to which they've broken international law. Russia, that was a war of aggression. We've always been very clear that was a war of aggression. That's illegal. Israel have been undergoing or overseeing what everyone acknowledges is an illegal occupation of Palestine, of the West Bank and Gaza, for 56 years.
Yeah. So it's so many countries. You know, they had to deal with South Africa, now Argentina, and so I believe it was Argentina. So and other countries are now saying the same thing. So many people are saying the same thing. You had a bunch of NATO members that also said the same thing. You know, they said that they need to take their markings back, or their land back to the 1967 markers. So he said for 56 years, they've been illegally occupying, pushing forward and killing people. And the rumors of harvesting organs and, and just moving people into other people's houses. That's kind of what happened here in America with my people, the natives, the Gadites and the Reubenites. They just took our land and built houses on our lands. All right?
This is a rogue state, but we don't treat it like one. Every now and again, we talk about it like maybe it is one. But even that, those words, they should stop and they should think, right? This is not a toddler. This is a nuclear-armed state, which is carrying out a genocidal war. It's too little, too late. Talking of too little, too late, Labour leader Keir Starmer, he hasn't commented at all on the latest assault on Rafa. But yesterday he said this, there are over 1.4 million displaced Palestinians in Rafa, and it is the gateway to aid for Gaza. An Israeli offensive there would be catastrophic. The fighting must stop now. We need a sustainable ceasefire.
Wow. So even some of their own people. And see, the thing is now, I'm going to give you the receipts as to why they're saying this all of a sudden. Because don't think that they care about these Ishmaelites. All right? And the fact that they're pushed up against the Egyptian border, this could spill over. All right? If some Egyptian interests are damaged or hurt, this could spill over. But you've basically destroyed these people's land and destroyed their homes. And you have 1.4, almost 1.5 million people that are living in tents, on the border of Egypt, with nowhere to run, nowhere to go. And basically, they just want to. It just appears. I'm not going to say that they're doing it, but it appears that they just want to exterminate these people. That's what it appears to be. So let's go to the next video, and then I'm going to also grab the next scripture. Egypt warns against. So now Egypt is warning against them. That's this lady. These videos. But first, let me read. Sirach 10 and 8 real quick. So this is Sirach 10 and 8. And it reads, because of unrighteous dealings and injuries and riches got by deceit, the kingdom is translated from one people to another. All right? And this is what they do, through unrighteous decrees and sometimes war. All right? They commandeer what's yours into their own and make themselves rich. All right? And this has been the, this has been Esau's blessing. It says, by the sword thou shalt live, and them that are feeble, not only the Israelites, but anyone. Matter of fact, let me get that scripture now that's on my mind. That's Wisdom of Solomon, I believe. Wisdom of Solomon 2. Yeah, Wisdom of Solomon, and this all should be in red because this is definitely talking about Esau, Edom. Let me just change the color of that. I always put my Edomite scriptures, the wicked scriptures, in red as they should be. A different shade of red than when Yahweh speaks. Often put his, and I'll change his to green anyway. But here, this is because he would like the barrel. If you know, then you know. But this is Wisdom of Solomon 2 and 10, and it reads, let us oppress the poor man, let us not spare the widow, nor reverence the ancient gray hairs or the aged. Let our strength be the law of justice, for that which is feeble is found nothing to be worth, and that fits this Palestinian Holocaust to the T. All right? So let's let this Ishmaelite woman speak her piece. Damn commercial. Son of a...
amount of concern over the situation that civilians in the southern city of Rafa are now facing. As we know, some 1.3 million people are said to be concentrated in this southern city. Hundreds of thousands of people who have been forced to flee, evacuate time and time again. Many of them now living in these sprawling tent cities pushed up right against the border. And as we have seen over the last few weeks, the city of Rafa has come under airstrike on numerous occasions, but the threat of a looming ground offensive by the Israeli military is really sounding the alarm bells. We've heard from the UN's humanitarian chief, Martin Griffiths, warning that there is simply nowhere else for civilians to turn. Of course, while we know that
And so you're gonna launch a ground offensive on citizens that are living in tents. Think about that. You're gonna send tanks and machine guns and drones and helicopters to fire on people living in tents that are probably about 70 to 80% women and children. And most of the men there are old and not, and they're not combatants. They're just citizens. All right. So this is really this is pissing people off even further. And that's why we're going to play this video. All right. But let me, this is RJ Talks. If you notice at the screen, the name of the videos are always in the shot. So you can actually go and watch these videos yourself. But let's get Ezekiel, because this is what's about to happen to Esau, Edom, man. Especially Amalek, all right, who's the first of the nations. All right. So much that they even, misuse the rest of the other Edomites. Many of the other Edomites hate Amalek. All right, but this is Ezekiel 35 and I'm going to start at verse 3. All right. The point is really in 5, but I'm going to start at verse 3. And it says, and say unto it, and I'm going to start at verse 1, because this is against Mount Seir, which they call Petra today, which I show you the receipts that all the images of the people who built Petra and came from there look just like RJ, killing the lie that they've tried to say that was a home of Ishmaelites, of Arabs. That was the first mountainous home where the Caucasians, so-called, came from. When they moved into the Caucasus Mountains, because they were forced up there after the fall of Rome. All right. They didn't go into the Caucasus Mountains on their own. They were forced there. All right. That's what happened. But so that first mountain home was what you call Petra today. But Ezekiel 35 and 5 and 1, it says, moreover, the word of Yahweh came unto me, saying, Son of man, set thy face against Mount Seir, and prophesy against it, and say unto it, thus saith the Lord power, behold, O Mount Seir, all right, Edom, I am against thee, and I will stretch out my hand against thee, and I will make thee most desolate. And that's exactly what they're doing, because the least of the flock, the Amalekites, right, the you-wishes, the small hatters, are what's drawing the nations out, including their own allies. And I will lay their cities waste, and thou shalt be desolate, and thou shalt know that I am Yahweh, because thou hast had a perpetual hatred and hast shed the blood of the children of Israel, the true ones, Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, all right, and that are scattered around the world, by the force of the sword in the time of their calamity, and the time that their iniquity had an end. See, when slavery ended, they went even harder against us. All right. Therefore, thus says, as I live, saith the Lord power, I will prepare thee unto blood, and blood shall pursue thee, since thou hast hated blood, even blood shall pursue thee. So the whole world is going to turn on them, and they're going to be getting put to death violently and horrifically around the world as we get closer and closer to Jacob's trouble and the collapse of everything. And in this third world's war, they are truly the most hated on earth right now. All right, and this is not making it any better.
We have more changes unfolding in the world of geopolitics, changes that have the Yemen government coming out over the weekend and warning the United States and its allies that they need to back off and stop the bombing of its land, or you'll face one of the worst attacks that you've seen in recent history, saying their Houthis know where the cables are for your digital infrastructure, how they pass right through our backyard, they said, right through the Red Sea, and they're not afraid to cut them. But before we get started, thank you for liking and sharing these videos. It really helps me out. And make sure to subscribe to the channel to continue receiving these regular updates. Also, don't forget to check out our new daily show over on the Notify America YouTube channel. The link's in the description. How the Houthis could get revenge on the U.S. for airstrikes by cutting a fifth of the world's internet. Yemen's government warns of threat to world's digital infrastructure. That's the headline. And look, you hear about this kind of thing like once a year or every other year. Whenever a conflict seems to pop up, people start warning about these like massive underwater fiber optic cables being cut. But this time, it's not just speculation. This time, the Yemen government came out and is openly warning the world, tell the United States to back off, or the Houthis will cut the lines. Obviously, not only affecting the U.S., but affecting a fifth of the world's internet. Think of like the consequences of that, though, like the type of flash crash, possibly, or prolonged maybe crash that you'd see in markets if 20% of the world's digital infrastructure went offline. Now, just for some context, before we look at this, as they gave specifics on how they're capable of doing this, by the way, but just for some context, here's what we're talking about. These undersea fiber optic cables that stretch around the world, here's what they look like. A simple 1 to 2 inch cable like this is what maintains our global digital infrastructure, folks. And here's the problem. It's not like power lines here in the States when a storm comes and knocks down a telephone pole where it would only affect one tiny area, one block, or a tiny portion of a community. Instead, if what Yemen is warning about comes to pass, we're talking 17% of the world's digital infrastructure immediately taken offline. All U.S. military bases and substations in the Middle East go dark.
You heard that?
See,
and then he
right
showed
through their backyard.
Then he showed you maps. So this is the reason why all of a sudden they're concerned. It's not even to save the lives of the Palestinians. They could care less if this Holocaust continued and exterminated all of them off the face of the earth. The reason why this guy said anything against what Israel is doing, the only reason he spoke up is because of this threat that the Houthis in the country of Yemen can actually do. So now all of a sudden, they want them to stop. This is what they're worried about. They could give a damn about the blood of women and children and exterminating this portion of the Ishmaelites off the face of the earth. All right? But the Lord's got his own plans. All right? And let me grab this real quick. I was reading this earlier, so I'll just finish with this. And this is Isaiah 10 and 33. And it reads, "Behold, the Lord, Yahweh of hosts, shall lop the ball with terror, and the high ones of stature shall be hewn down, and the haughty shall be humbled. And he shall cut down the thickets of the forest with iron, and Lebanon shall fall by the mighty one." So the Lord is getting ready to come, all right, and wreak havoc on all you people, but mainly Esau, Edom, because this is the valley of Jehoshaphat that we're looking at, and the Lord's going to draw all the nations of the world to this battle here, and then he's going to annihilate them. All right? And at the same time that they're being annihilated, America is going to be annihilated. And the land of Israel is going to be annihilated. Only thing is that the land of Israel is going to be built up again, and America never will be. So this is truly, and then of course the great city Jerusalem, the new Jerusalem, comes down, so heaven will be on earth. The Israelites will come down with, and basically take over the whole earth. And that's what all your so-called UFOs are all about. The Lord left on a cloud. He calls the clouds his chariots. So UFOs and UAPs are the chariots of the Lord. And he left on one, and he's going to return on one. And he's about to wreak havoc. So with that, I'm going to give all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rakakwadash, Kwam Yasharala, Shalom.